Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We've all seen the epic movies, read the history books, and maybe even heard stories from our grandparents. World War II was a conflict that defined the 20th century. But what if I told you that some of the most incredible stories from that era are ones you've likely never heard? Today we're diving deep into the lesser-known side of the war. We're going to uncover 5 astonishing battle facts that will completely change your perspective on World War II. These aren't your typical textbook tales. These are stories of unbelievable courage, bizarre tactics, and moments that almost defy belief. So buckle up, because history is about to get a whole lot more interesting. Let's get started. First up, let's talk about a battle that sounds like it was ripped straight from a fantasy novel. The Battle for Castle Eton. Picture this. It's May 1945, just days before the end of the war in Europe. An unlikely alliance forms. On one side you have American soldiers, on the other you have German Wehrmacht soldiers who have surrendered. And who are they fighting against? The hardline Waffen-SS. Their mission: to defend a medieval castle in Austria that was being used as a high-profile prison for French VIPs, including former prime ministers and a tennis star. So you have Americans and anti-Nazi Germans fighting side by side to protect French prisoners from the SS. It was the only battle in the entire war where American and German forces fought together as allies. The defenders were vastly outnumbered, holding out against overwhelming odds until American reinforcements finally arrived. It's a mind-boggling story of enemies becoming allies in the final chaotic days of the war. It proves that even in the darkest of times, humanity can find a way to unite against a common foe. Our second fact takes us to the freezing, brutal Eastern Front. When we think of the Battle of Stalingrad, we imagine a massive city-wide meat grinder, and it was but one of the most pivotal fights happened in a single, ordinary apartment building known as Pavlov's house. A small platoon of Soviet soldiers, led by Sergeant Yakov Pavlov, captured this 4-story building and fortified it. For nearly 2 months, this tiny group of about 25 men held out against relentless German attacks. Think about that. A handful of soldiers in one building held off an entire German army trying to break through to the Volga River. They turned it into an impenetrable fortress with machine guns, anti-tank rifles, and mines. German maps even started marking Pavlov's house as a fortress. The defenders lived in the basement, surrounded by civilians who were hiding there. They held on for 58 days until they were finally relieved by the Soviet counteroffensive. Pavlov's house became a powerful symbol of Soviet resistance and the sheer stubborn determination that defined the Battle of Stalingrad. It shows that sometimes, the fate of a massive battle can hinge on the courage of just a few soldiers in a single building. Now, let's head over to the Pacific Theater for our third fact, and this one is truly bizarre. It's about an American secret weapon that, thankfully, was never fully used. The Bat Bomb. Yes, you heard that right. The plan was to attach tiny incendiary bombs with timers to millions of Mexican free-tailed bats. These bats would be loaded into special bomb casings, dropped over Japanese cities at dawn from high-altitude bombers. As the casings descended, they would open, releasing the bats. The bats would then naturally fly to find dark places to roost for the day in the attics and eaves of Japan's largely wooden and paper buildings. After a set time, the tiny bombs would detonate, starting thousands of small, scattered fires simultaneously, which would overwhelm firefighting services and cause massive destruction. The project, codenamed Project Extra, was actually taken very seriously. Tests were conducted, and during one, some armed bats accidentally escaped and burned down a brand new hangar in a General S car at the Carlsbad Army Airfield in New Mexico. While the project showed promise, it was eventually shelved in favor of the much faster developing atomic bomb. It's a strange and almost comical footnote in the history of weapons development, showing the incredible lengths to which scientists went to find a war-winning edge. For our fourth fact, we're going back to Europe, to the D-Day landings. We all know about the heroic storming of Omaha and Utah beaches, but what about the Ghost Army? This was a top-secret U.S. Army unit, officially known as the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops. Their job wasn't to fight, but to deceive. They were an army of artists, sound engineers, actors, and designers. Their mission was to create phantom divisions to fool the Germans about the strength and location of Allied forces. They used a combination of incredible tricks. They had inflatable rubber tanks, trucks, and airplanes that looked real from the air. They drove around in small convoys to simulate the tracks of a large armored division. They used powerful speakers to blast the sounds of troop movements and construction for miles. They even had actors impersonate generals and visit towns to spread false information, which they knew would be picked up by German spies. This Ghost Army was instrumental in confusing the German high command, particularly in the lead-up to D-Day, making them believe the main invasion would come at Pas-de-Calais instead of Normandy. They saved countless lives by drawing enemy units away from real Allied troops. It was a war of illusion, fought with creativity and deception instead of bullets. Finally, our fifth astonishing fact brings us to a single soldier whose story sounds like something out of a Hollywood blockbuster. Meet Leo Major, a French-Canadian soldier who was known as the One-Eyed Ghost. During the war, he lost one eye to a phosphorus grenade, but refused to be sent home, arguing he only needed one eye to sight a rifle. His most legendary feat came in April 1945 during the liberation of the Netherlands. He and a friend were sent to scout the German-occupied city of Zavala when his friend was killed. Major went on a one-man rampage. He single-handedly captured a German patrol vehicle, disarmed the crew, and then forced one of the drivers to take him near the German command post. For the rest of the night, he ran through the city streets, throwing grenades, firing his machine gun, and making so much noise that he convinced the German garrison they were being attacked by a huge Canadian force. He captured groups of German soldiers, 10 at a time, and marched them back to the Canadian lines. By morning, the remaining 1,500 German soldiers had fled the city. Leo Major had liberated the entire city of Zavala by himself. For his actions, he was awarded the Distinguished Conduct Medal. He is a testament to the incredible impact a single, determined individual can have, even against impossible odds. So there you have it, 5 incredible stories from World War II that you probably didn't learn in school. From Americans and Germans fighting together, to a single apartment building holding off an army, 2 bat bombs, a ghost army of artists, and a one-man liberation force. These facts show us that the reality of war is often stranger, more complex, and more incredible than we can imagine. It's a powerful reminder that history is filled with human stories of courage, ingenuity, and sheer unpredictability. Which of these facts surprised you the most? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the hidden corners of history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the past. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.